Today we are making the drive up to an expat kind of an area that you may have heard of called Altos del Maria. And we're driving there from Coronado, where we have been staying during the protests. Now, the interesting thing is that our original Altos del Maria footage was from like 2.5 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or something. And we lost all of it, every bit of it. Well, the roads opened yesterday from the protests, woohoo! And we'll be going home on Friday, which is 2 days from now, if everything stays the way it is. And we decided that we could not leave this area without coming back and refilming some Altos del Maria footage for you guys, because it's a really interesting community and I know a lot of you are interested in it. Okay, so right now we're driving the road up to Altos. It is an amazingly beautiful drive. You're looking at about 40 minutes from Coronado. I mean, come on, there's the kind of traffic you want right there. You go through some beautiful little local villages. It's so clean. The scenery is spectacular, and the roads are great. So there's a lot going on up here. I mean, look at this beautiful river. Hold on, my window's dirty, but hopefully you can see there. All right. Okay, so again, it's beautiful. All right, so we're heading to the front gate, and we'll talk more when we get there. All right, we have reached the town of Sora, and Sora is where we are going to make the turn to go to Altos del Maria. Now, there are some amenities here, not a whole lot. There's like, you know, the little Chino grocery store kind of things. There's your police. They're even so friendly in Panama. I swear to God, I love Panamanians. So we're going to turn up here, and so we're getting pretty close. So if you need to come down for like little groceries and things like that, you know, Sora might be your place. But for major stuff, you're definitely going to want to go to Coronado. So there is only one restaurant. Roll my window down. One restaurant in Altos del Maria. It is called Restaurante Senderos. Like that's like trails. The view is spectacular. So I'm going to jump out and show you the view. They're closed right now, but I'm going to show you the view just so you can see what it's like. Okay, I'm kind of behind the fence and into the sun, but the views are amazing. Like you can see the ocean from here. Gorgeous. Now, this is the only restaurant in Altos del Maria. So there are some fondas and little things like that in Sora, so that's okay. Lots of restaurants in Coronado, so that's not a problem. But yeah, if you're going to eat out up here, it does get a little isolated, which a lot of people love. I live super isolated, right? But it's something you need to know going into it. All right, so we kind of passed the front gate to come here and show you this, and now we're going to head back to the front gate and enter the actual community of Altos del Maria. All right, we are going to be entering in through the main gate. However, there is another gate up the road, back this way. Somebody's moving in. The restaurant is back up that way, so we've turned around to come back to the main gate. But if you keep going down, you can get into these different subsections of the community through what is called the Pyramid Gate. What I'm going to do is I will link below a map to the entire Altos del Maria community, so you can see where each of these subsections are, because it's really interesting how they have this community kind of partitioned off. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So this is the front gate, and we are going to have to wait for someone to come let us in. Altos del Maria is a gated community with security, and you cannot get in unless you own property here or you are staying in the community, like at an Airbnb or something like that. So that means we have to wait, because like when we were here before, we had an Airbnb, and I'm going to drive by and show you where that is. So we were on the list, but now we're not staying here, so we're not on the list and we can't get in. The security here is pretty good. So we're going to wait for our friend Connie to come and pick us up here in a few minutes, and then we'll continue the tour with her. Okay, so this is the gazebo, which is in Sienna Park, just not too far from the entrance of the community. And I'm talking to Connie, and she says that during Carnival and holidays, they'll have food and drink and entertainment and dancing and all kinds of fun stuff here for the community. So it's kind of nice that there is that sense of community here and community activities. That's kind of a fun part of being in Altos. Okay, one of the many amenities here at Altos del Maria is the community center. So we're going to kind of look and see what they have to offer here. Lights are off, so it's going to be dark. But look, pool table. How fun is that? And very echoey because there's a lot of tile. There's a kitchenette in here, so with this little sink and a little fridge. So, you know, if you want to get some food stuff together, and a bathroom. At this end is the exercise room with lots of good exercise machines in there. But with all the hiking trails, people, 11 miles. I don't know how many kilometers. You do the conversion. I'm not a math teacher. 11 miles of hiking trails here in Altos del Maria. It was a huge draw for Brian and I. I'm not going to lie. Okay, so this is the second community room. She said these picnic tables aren't always like all over the place. Ping pong here. And she said, look, I'm just going to show you this room and step out because it's so echoey. We'll walk around. But she said that before COVID, they had 3 kinds of yoga every day, 5 days a week, for free offered here. Like, how magnificent is that? All right, so let's see. There's one more place within this community center area that I want to show you. All right, so this little building is just, so here's the community center buildings that we just went to. It's starting to rain. This is the administration building. So this is where you come and pay your HOA dues and your water bill. So what are the HOA dues here in Altos? Well, it depends upon how many lots you have, but it's in general about $80 per lot. So if you have a house that's on 2 lots, then you're looking at one. Okay, but there's something that Connie told me that's in here that's very interesting. She said it's back here. Uh-oh, it might be locked. Let me see. No, it's not. Okay, see if I can find the light switch. Here it is. Look, it is a library and it's free. She said there are a few ladies that run the library and keep everything organized. And it's huge. I mean, they've got hundreds of books in here. That'll keep you busy. Little sitting area too. So a free library. Another bonus of living in Altos del Maria. So this is one of the fun things about Altos del Maria. Each little section has a name, and they're all Italian, and they have these beautiful marble statues next to them. So why is that, you may ask? Let me tell you. And go slow, Brian, because I'm going to show him my favorite house here in a second. So Mr. Malo of Malo, like pet and garden and all of that, if you're familiar here in Panama, he created this subdivision. But before I tell you that, I'm going to show you this house. This is one of my favorite houses. It's so beautiful. All that wood and stone. Love it. Okay, anyway. Okay, you can continue, Brian. All right, so Mr. Malo, when he was building this subdivision, he and his wife had gone to Italy and spent like 3 months in Italy. Were inspired by everything they saw, and they came back, and that's why they named all of the individual sections in the community Italian names and put these marble statues up. So it's just a really fun little kind of quirky feature of Altos. Sorry about all the bumps. I hope you took your motion sickness pills. You can see the kind of national park feel you get coming through here with just all the trees. So lush and green. And look, the road has bumps in places. It's Panama, people. Don't freak out. But all in all, the roads here are not bad. This is Rio Maria. It's one of the rivers that runs through. Beautiful waterfalls and swimming holes and all of those sorts of things. Here's some hiking trails that go down to the river on that side, but Brian has his window up so nobody can see anything. Thank you, dear. when you live in Bocas, at least where I live, in order to get rid of your trash, you have to drive to Changanola, beat off the vultures and the starving dogs, and dump your trash in a landfill. It's lots of fun. Not. If you live in Altos, you get this handy dandy little trash house. So you come, you put your trash in there, and it magically disappears, like trash should. Okay, so more of the amenities here in Altos. Down this area here somewhere are tennis courts, actually. And I'm not sure, like, what that house thing is. I don't know. That whole area confused us, but it must be someone's house. Don't you think, Brian?
It looks like it.
Yeah. So, and then, if you're super rich and super fancy and you want to get around the protests, you can come to Altos in your helicopter and go to the helipuerto. Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Nice, Brian. Oh my gosh. That was really good. Hell yeah. I like it. So this whole area down here where we're driving, this is like lower Altos del Maria. So basically your altitude is going to be, oh, that's so beautiful. Your altitude here is going to be like around 600 meters. Climate is wonderful. You don't need air conditioning unless you're one of those like weird people. And if you're one of those people that's in Altos with your air conditioning, I don't need an email, being offended because I just called you weird. You are. The climate here is great, year-round, cool. Look at that. Isn't that pretty, Laurel? And so Laurel is actually where we stayed when we came here. And I'm going to show you the Airbnb up here in just a minute. And the roads are steep, I'm not going to lie. I mean, some of these roads are pretty steep, but you definitely don't need 4x4. We have 4x4 and we're not engaging it at all. Oh yes, up here come two of my favorite houses. I have some favorites here. Just so cute. All right, so let me show you. There's these two houses here. My zoom is sucky on this camera, sorry, but wood and stone and stucco just set back in those pine trees, so pretty. And then the one next to it with the wood and the stone and so much glass. Just really, really pretty. This house, we actually walked the lot. It's a massive lot. It used to be like an Airbnb here. It is for sale, that one. And then our Airbnb where we stayed, I will link below because the people were so lovely to us, is this place right here with the lions on the fence. That's a whole inside joke for Morgan, or for, wow, that's a whole inside, wow, I'm about to get into big fat trouble. That's a whole inside joke now for, don't even look at me. Yeah, okay. All right, that moment when you're filming and you're just blah, 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 and you accidentally call your current husband your ex-husband's name is just probably not good. That's going to be a discussion. The Airbnb, we stayed in this upper area up here. Really, really nice place. Really, really lovely owners who'll tell you like all their experiences here in Altos, which is nice. Now, this is something I find interesting. In some areas of Altos, you'll find like these completely abandoned houses that like no one has been in forever. I don't get it. So who is living in Altos? Well, the majority of homes here are Panamanian owned. And so this is going to be by, upper middle class, wealthier Panamanians who basically have second homes. They live in the city and they come here on the weekends. So their homes are empty, a lot of the time. But then you have the expats that live here, most of them year round, and then some of them are snowbirds and just come down at certain times during the year. Now, we had driven up all through Altos. We had taken so much footage and we lost tons of it. We don't have time to go back through again, but I really do recommend that if you are looking for a community that has a cool climate, so you don't want to be hot and down at the beach, so you want a cooler climate, you want something close to the city, you're about maybe a little over an hour and a half from Panama City here, so really close to the city, but in nature, You want a good kind of a secure community area. Again, this is all gated back here and secure. You don't want to have to worry about road upkeeps and all of that stuff. It's all done through your HOA. Look, it's not perfect. It's Panama, but you know, again, these roads are not that bad. I say as we go over the absolute worst section of road in Altos, but they're not that bad. There are just so many options here. Lots, houses for sale, houses for rent. There's a lot. Okay, so we're now going to head up through Upper Altos because you can get even higher up. We're not a fan of that upper area just because it's going to be wetter and colder up the higher up you go, and what? Windier. So we're not a big fan of that area. We wouldn't live up in the top. But we're actually going through another amenity that you have if you live here at Altos, which is the back road to El Valle. All right, so next week we're going to start our entire series on, well, no, not next week. The week after next, I think. I don't know. And we're going to have a series on El Valle coming up. It's going to be tons of videos about El Valle because we spent a lot of time there. But next week, we're going to be in Altos still, and we're going to be touring homes. So we're going to be looking at these houses for sale, looking at these houses for rent, see what you can get for the money here in Altos. It's going to be a lot of fun. Believe me, you're going to love it. We go through some amazing houses. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you click notify, and meet us here next week to go do this real estate tour because it's going to be really cool. All right. Until then, I will link some Altos del Maria information below, and we will see you next week for the real estate portion.